News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, after resisting the issue for months, Congress ultimately made quick work of a bill to force the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. By a 427-1 vote, the House passed a bill to compel the Justice Department to make its documents public. Then the Senate agreed unanimously to approve the legislation without changes once it arrives there. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says that won't be the end of it.
We know there's a corrupt Justice Department. We know that Bondi and Cash Patel do just what the president asks and wants. And we Democrats, I just had a meeting of 10 of my colleagues, are going to do everything we can to make sure all of it comes to light.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer pushed for the unanimous consent motion, but Bloomberg Balance of Power host Joe Matthew reports the Justice Department could still push back against this bill even if President Trump signs it.
Knowing that the president has compelled the Department of Justice to investigate some Democrats, including Bill Clinton in this case, the DOJ could simply say, hey, we understand the vote, but we can't release anything because this is an ongoing investigation, a smokescreen, as some have called it here. And there's a question about whether or not this is how this ends. And maybe that's why, in fact, the president decided at the last minute to go for this.
That's Bloomberg's Joe Matthew in Washington. President Trump has said he will sign the bill, saying he has nothing to hide and it's time to move on.
Well, Nathan, President Trump is also moving to deepen ties with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman received a king's welcome at a White House dinner last night. The president used it to announce a new defense cooperation pact that'll make Saudi Arabia a major non-NATO ally.
A stronger and more capable alliance will advance the interests of both countries, and it will serve the highest interest of peace.
And President Trump's announcement came on a day that saw the U.S. offer sales of F-35 fighter jets, advanced AI chips, and nuclear tech sharing to the kingdom. Former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia, Robert Jordan, says the Crown Prince is not offering much in return.
What did he have to give up? Virtually nothing, because he still has in his pocket the promise or the lure of normalizing relations with Israel. So it seems to me that MBS has come out by far the winner here.
Former U.S. Ambassador Robert Jordan tells Bloomberg President Trump has touted $1 trillion in investment commitments from Saudi Arabia. That's nearly the size of the kingdom's annual economy. One other note from last night's White House dinner, Elon Musk, who was on the guest list. The Tesla CEO and one-time Doge figurehead was back in the East Room after his public falling out with President Trump over his tax and spending cut bill.
Let's turn to markets now, Karen. Futures are higher following 4 straight days of losses on Wall Street. A sell-off in the world's largest tech companies led the way lower. Lisa Shallett is Chief Investment Officer at Morgan Stanley Wealth Management.
The earnings revision momentum, as we like to say, has slowed. And I think that that's one of the things that has catalyzed this profit-taking moment is that people are saying, wait a minute, perhaps, some of the leaders of this market, the hyperscalers, are in fact, by dint of their aggressive spending, by dint of them now assuming some debt to finance that spending, maybe that earnings growth rate is going to slow.
Morgan Stanley Wealth Management's Lisa Shallett. Goldman Sachs President John Waldron says markets are primed for possible further declines. We caught up with Waldron at the Bloomberg New Economy Forum in Singapore.
I would say you're seeing in the markets right now a pullback, which I think is healthy. Markets have run quite a bit this year, U.S. equity markets in particular. Markets heavily focused on this AI dynamic. Are we going to get the returns on capital invested that the market expects and is priced in? It's a big debate.
Goldman Sachs President John Waldron says Nvidia's earnings will be key for markets.
And Nathan, that Nvidia earnings report comes out this afternoon. It's after the closing bell. Analysts expect the AI chip giant to show more than 50% growth in both net income and revenue in its fiscal third quarter. Michael Ball is Bloomberg News macro strategist.
We know what their customers are doing. We know what the supply chain is doing. We've got the other chip makers who are part of that ecosystem. So I think they will match or beat. It's very sensitive to any misstep. And so NVIDIA basically has no room for error. And, basically the market's pricing a 6-7% move that day, which is higher than its normal earning day move. So there's even greater sensitivity this turnaround.
And Bloomberg's Michael Ball notes that Nvidia shares have dropped more than 12% since hitting a peak 4 weeks ago. Stay with Bloomberg with complete analysis of Nvidia's after the bell earnings report. And then at 6:30 p.m. Wall Street time, we speak exclusively with Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang here on Bloomberg Radio and Bloomberg Television. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.